directly. Right? So even the automated feedback that you'll see later, right, they are not AI generated, so to speak. So they may be AI generated to assist me at the back end before I develop the app. But when the students interact with the app, right, they are actually interacting with the direct pre-planned coded algorithms. Yeah, so that is the thing that I want to highlight lah. So that means I know ahead of time what exactly the app will generate for the students because everything is controlled by me. So there's nothing that is generated from by the AI live per se. Okay, so very different from some of the sharing that we have heard earlier, lah, like typically like for example Jason's sharing earlier, right? With when you upload a video and then ChatGPT, the bot will say something. Yeah, so it's unlike those. Right. So I think it's safe to say that whatever I'm sharing in a while doesn't require any kind of clearance. Lah. So it should be hassle free. Okay, because of the nature of the app developed. Second thing I want to highlight is the a few contexts, two main contexts. So in my lessons, first thing first is I do quite a bit of peer observation. So why I do peer observation is because there are times in the unit, right, in the sports unit, whereby I need to give students more space to really exhibit the skills, the concepts in the games. So whether it's netball, whether it's badminton, it's the same thing. So I can't make them do small-sided games through the whole unit, right? So at the end, I want to give them more space. For example, in basketball, maybe I want to give them more space to showcase their dribbling ability and all that. So I can't be teaching whereby 40 students are always playing at the same time. So same thing for badminton. At the start, at the first half of the unit, you'll see 40 students playing at the same time. So, but they have limited space. So at some point, I want to give them more space. So when I give them more space, inevitably, some have to rest. So that's why instead of them resting, I always try to make it a point to engage them meaningfully. So peer observation is something that I do quite a bit. Second thing is that, second context that I want to mention is that the way I teach is largely anchored in ecological dynamics. That means I believe that the act of thinking and the act of doing cannot be separated. Yeah, so when we learn to serve and we learn to do an overhead clear in the context of badminton, right? I don't teach movement form, but I emphasize more on the movement outcome. So later you'll see like how this influenced me in my app development. Yeah, so those are the two contexts that I want to put up front so that you understand my main viewpoints. Okay. Right. So I will start off from where we left in my last sharing. So in my last sharing, I shared this simplified heat map. Uh, and one of the participants actually said that uh, my feedback given in through this app is a little bit too prescriptive and there's no encouraging tone to it. So I will just show you what the app is capable of, and then from there I will bring you through what I've planned. Okay, so let me just open this first. Okay, can somebody just tell me whether you are seeing the heat map? Yep, okay, good. Okay, so this is what we have. So we have on the left the 5 button interface whereby I can click. All right, so this is where I will typically get the students to stand at the back of the court here, of the receiver. And then on top here, there's an imaginary net line on top. Okay, so this is, as I click the left front court, right, you can imagine there's actually a net in front of it. So I'm actually teaching my students to annotate where the shuttle is going to land or is landing. So they will just do this. All right, so they just do this. So typically, I don't jump straight into this straight away. So they actually have to go through a little bit of paper and pen exercise first. So once they are comfortable, then that's where the digitized version come in. So why I created this digitized version is because I want to highlight certain data. So the issue with the paper and pen is that sometimes some students need more support. So they do not know what to make sense of when they do the traditional heat map using paper and pen. So you can see from this digitized version, right, on the right hand side, there's a panel that actually breaks down the short statistic in terms of the number and in terms of the corresponding percentage. So at secondary school level, they will be able to make sense of these percentages lah. So what does it mean to have 20% of the shot landing at the right back and so on and so forth. 20% of the shot in the center. Okay, so from here, if I scroll down a bit more, So this is what we have in my last sharing, whereby one of the participants asked me, can we get the app to generate encouraging type of feedback? So you can see the feedback generally has a encouraging kind of tone. So I brought this back to my classroom, and I find that not everybody like this type of feedback lah. So it's a little bit too wordy, too flowery. So maybe it's just my students, but if you like this, you can just use it as it is. But quite a number of my students didn't quite like it lah. Some of them don't even bother to read the generated feedback. So I went back to the drawing board, and then what I have after that is, let me just close this first. Okay, so if I open the next one, which is the bullet points version. Okay, so this is the same thing. The interface is exactly the same, just that now I try to be a bit more data driven in terms of the feedback given. So it's meant to be in bullet form, and it's meant to be to highlight the data that's generated. And then you'll see in a while, for example, so I just put in some arbitrary data like this. Okay. So if you look at the numbers alone, you know that there's quite a number of shots in the center. You can also see that the shots at the right back court is quite a lot, and the shots in the front court is a little bit lesser lah. So maybe I exaggerate it a bit more. So I just exaggerate a bit more. Yeah. So as a teacher, you can see this. But like what as we have talked about earlier on, that one teacher, 40 students, very hard to go around to give feedback. And then you know that we have students waiting because we are giving students more space to practice later on in the unit, right? So instead of waiting and doing nothing, they can help to do this peer observation. So the feedback generated now is more in bullet form. All right. So when with my secondary school student, when the feedback is specific, is data driven, based on my perception survey, they appreciate this type of specific feedback better than the earlier version. Yeah. So what I've done here is that with this app, there is four main areas that the feedback will be based on. So I refer to them as the front court balance, the back court balance, the front back movement, as well as the central area. Yeah. So in my feedback, I'm also very cautious not to say that shot placement in the center is not good. I make it a point to, while I make it a point to tell the students to reduce the center shots, I also want to uh, sometimes tell them to consider smashing if they are aiming in the center area. So there will be times that you'll see, if I put more shots in the center area, you can see the feedback here. That too many shots is in the center, about 40%. Reduce center shots. Center shots should primarily be smashes. Yeah. So in that sense, I'm not trying to tell the student that center shot placement is totally bad. There are times that it's still good lah, because even the pros you see when you see they smash into the opponent's court, it tends to land somewhere in the middle range. All right. Uh, the second thing that I did was, some of my students find that this is too overwhelming. So I actually created a three-button version. So a three-button version can be toggled from with this. So you can see this mode button, right? So when I click the three-button version, the students can actually I can actually reduce the cognitive load, and the students can just focus on whether the shot is landing in the front court, center court, or back court. So in this case, the statistic will also correspond to this three-button version. So you can see there's fewer shot statistics, and there's also fewer strategic analysis. So now my feedback will be only focused on these two elements, front back movement as well as the center area. Then for some of my students, even this is difficult. So I'm going to show you. The latest version is, this one I haven't tried, but this is something I plan to use next year, which is the two-button version. Let me just close this first. So there is a two-button version which I generated. So this is the version here. So it's exactly the same as before, but now we have the five-button version. If I click once, it becomes a three-button version. If I click another time, it becomes a two-button version. So in this case, for some lessons, this can be a very simple and manageable start for the students and the teachers actually, because you just need to tell them that you just need to make a judgment. Is the shot landing in the to the front court or back court, and then they can just click accordingly. And then in terms of feedback, they will just give focus on the ratio to what's the difference between the shots placed in the front court versus the back court. So you want to have a more balanced kind of shot distribution, generally speaking, so that we actually move the opponent front and back. All right. Okay. Now, planning for next year, I'm actually working closely with Master Teacher Irfan to actually make this something more useful for our friends who are using the non-linear pedagogy. So in a non-linear pedagogy, uh, let me just show you. This is what I call the advanced version. So the advanced version looks something like this. So it's closer to the paper and pen version, whereby you can actually plot the shot placement more accurately lah, compared to the quadrant version that I showed earlier. So if I were to reset, okay, so I reset. So let's say this student keep hitting more or less in the middle, not really moving the opponent too much. Okay, I can also double click to annotate unsuccessful shot. So here I double click, you can see unsuccessful shot. So all this will be reflected on the right side shot statistic panel. So in terms of the feedback, you can see that, let me see. Okay, so the feedback is very concise. So based on the data, most shots are near the middle of the court. Then the feedback says that put in more effort in placing shots away from the opponent's central base position. Try targeting the four corners of the court and along the sidelines to force your opponent to cover more ground. This will make it harder for them to return to their base and give you better control of the rally. So you can see the feedback is worded quite broadly, so that students can continue exploring, guided by this feedback. We also are mindful that some students may not know enough with regards to how can I improve the technical aspect. So we actually embedded on-demand technical feedback at the bottom here. So let's say after reading this feedback, they realize that, okay, I need to move the opponent more to the corners, but how? How do I send the shuttle from the backcourt into the opponent's backcourt? So we are talking about skills such as the forehand overhead clear. So if I were to click that, okay, a predetermined feedback will be shown. So in this case, send the shuttle high and deep, like you're painting a giant colorful rainbow across the sky. So I'm trying to use a little bit of analogy. So that will be shown by my programming about 10 seconds before it will be hidden again to create a more compact user interface. So if I were to click the same button again, okay, again another random cue will be given. But in this case, it's the same one. But if I click again, you can see a different one appear. Yeah, so this program to show randomly one of the prescribed uh, analogy or metaphorical kind of cue, which is aligned to the NLP principle, whereby we are focusing more on the external attentional focus kind of, or approximation of movement form kind of cues. Yeah, so they can just open, let's say for smash, okay, hit down on the shuttle as if you're hammering a nail into the opponent's court. So we're using some pictorial kind of analogy to guide the students in the exploration. All right, so this is something new, and I will definitely be working on this over the next month before the new year starts. Yeah, so this is something that I'll be using with a few schools next year onwards. Okay. All right, so now let me end off by sharing with you why I'm using this famous AI platform. So although it's expensive if you subscribe, I no longer subscribe by the way because it's really very expensive. So I've been using the free version all this while. So the issue with this platform is that you can only put maybe two messages before your free version max out. So two messages today, two messages tomorrow, and probably you cannot use for the rest of the month, and you have to wait one more month before you can use it again. So what I've shared before is that the go around is, first of all, you have multiple email accounts. So you have multiple email accounts, then you can clone the app from one account to another. So that is the best thing about this, because uh, I'm hoping in the year to come, you all can use this pilot page, right? Then as you create more app of your own version, you share your shareable link here. So you can see the last column here in my Padlet page. If everybody is going to use Famous AI, hopefully they stay free to some extent for a long time. We can build a community that really tap on each other expertise, and then we can share the resources so that we cut down the need to build things from scratch. So we take people's idea and we tweak it and make it ours. Because you know your kids best, right? So is I think this is the best way to go lah. If you keep starting from scratch, right, you will take a long time and you probably will give up along the way. But with that said, I really love Canva AI as per what Kelvin have shared, because Canva AI is cheap and it's very free. And even with the free version, you can do so much. So you can do many iterations, 20, 30, and it's still within the free capabilities. What I like, so although I like that, there are some issues that I don't like, because I feel like Canva AI is not proactive enough. In the sense that if I give them a prompt that is not holistic, they will miss out a lot of things. Even simple things like, for example, how will my app look on a laptop, on a tablet, versus on a mobile device? That Famous AI, because of the way it's structured, they tend to have all these bases covered. So when I design something on my laptop, when I check on my mobile device, they tend to look the way I want it. Whereas with Canva AI, sometimes I'm happy with the how it looks on my laptop, but once I use my mobile device, it looks terrible and it can't be used. Yeah, so that is my issue with Canva AI. But if you really want to just play around with, I think Canva AI is a perfect way to really start, because once whatever you develop on Canva AI, you can then use the code to import it over onto Famous AI and start building something more robust on Famous AI. So that is my personal advice to those who are starting out. Yeah. All right. Okay. Now let me bring you through before I end off. Very quickly, how to clone. So I click on any of the app that I shared here. I click something that I like, maybe this softball thing. And you can see on the top right hand corner, there's a clone this site function. So all I have to do is clone. Now, before I clone, I'll just show you what this app does lah. Okay, so let me just show you. So this app is designed to bring students' attention towards what does it mean to be in a forced run situation. So I always tell my students that a batter is always forced to run to first base. So they cannot stay even if they hit the ball badly, right? So that's why at the first base you can see that yellow circle thing, right? To highlight that if possible, I should not send right field, because if I send right field and let's say somebody intercepts the ball, and they can easily defend first base, and I will be forced out. All right. So to make things clearer, I can put a few fielders, maybe four, to just show you the possible implication when I hit right field. All right. So I can use this control to just help students visualize what does it mean to hit left field, or maybe a bit more to the center and things like that. All right. I can also select different game scenario. For example, what if there is a runner at second? If there's a runner at second, then you know that the runner at second is not forced to run. So there is no highlight on it on the other bases. But if let's say I select there's runner at first and second, then you know that the batter has to go to first base forced to run the second base runner forced to run third base. So you can see a highlight. So that means now the visuals will highlight some important things. But at the end of the day, students have still have to interpret this and then decide what is best in terms of the shot to be placed. Okay, whether they want to hit here or here, it's up to them to think about and discuss. All right, so let's say this is something that I like, but not good enough for my use in class. So I click on clone this site. If you have an account, you can sign in. If you not, sign up for free. Okay, so let's say I have an account, I sign in. If you are wondering where to create multiple email, so you can use Proton Mail. You can create 8 or 10 for yourself. Uh, that's what I will do. And let's sign in. Okay. Now, okay, now I'm signed in already. Okay, I see now. I go back to that one. I open. Okay, now I clone again. Sorry. So you need to log in first before I clone. So now I clone. Let me check. Yeah, so now it's cloned. Okay, because I already logged in already, it's cloned. So now it is this thing resides on my account. It resides on my account. So I look at my dashboard. Yeah, correct. So it's now the only thing in my account. So you can see, right, in the free version, you only have $5 worth of credit. So $5 worth of credit actually not much lah, right? So like what I say, it's about one message is about $1, two messages about $2, something like that. Alright, so very fast will burst the max. Alright, so let me just bring you through what I can do with this. So let's say, let me see. Okay, let's say I like the app, but I want a little bit more functionality. So for example, okay, let me just zoom in a bit more so that you can see what I'm typing. All right, so let's say I want to maybe change let me see, change the betting angle highlight. So just now, if you recall, betting angle highlight is in a purplish color to light green instead of purple magenta. All right, so let's say this is one minor tweak that I want to make. But of course, we don't just do that. You won't waste your credit. So I write a bit more. Maybe the highlights around the base is too much. Okay, for example, let's say the highlights around the base is too big and I want to make it smaller. All right, so I can reduce the highlights around the bases where runner is forced to run to by about 15 pixel in radius. Okay, so that could be second thing that I want to type in. And then maybe I want to add another feature. For example, I want to imagine that each fielder actually can move like left and right. So I want to add another highlight around the fielders. So I can say add an invisible highlight around each fielder with a circle of about maybe 40 too big, maybe 35 pixel radius in dark green with 0% opacity. That means actually it's invisible. So 0% opacity means invisible, right? And then why I want that is because if I want to add this, if the betting angle overlaps. So if the betting angle overlaps any of the invisible highlights around the fielders, increase the opacity to 10% and then accentuate the overlap parts with red color with 40% opacity. Alright, so I will see something like that. And then I will just get the platform to generate the necessary codes and do what is needed for me. Okay, so now let me just zoom out so that you can see what's going to happen in the next, usually take about 1 minute. But so while this is happening, any question? Any urgent question, guys? I'm ending soon, don't worry.
Hello.
Yes,
Yeah, bro. Sorry to disturb
yes,
you.
yes,
Okay, so just want to check with you. Just now you selected the softball layout, right?
correct.
That is done by you or it's already available in the Famous AI platform.
It's done by me.
It's done
So
by you.
what I do is I add a picture. There's an upload image function. Let me just zoom in a bit more. At the bottom here, there's a upload image function. So I upload an image from the internet that
Okay.
that resembles the kind of look that I want. Then I just prompt the AI here to 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 generate a background image that look as closely as possible to what I've uploaded.
Right, and then also the fielder and the runner, I mean, those circle that you
Yes,
created. You also you also key in the prompt yourself.
correct. So I will say some
Red color circle as field, for example, red color as runner,
correct,
blue color as defender, something like this.
something like that. Correct.
Or so you basically starts from scratch.
You have to start from scratch unless you are cloning one of my apps,
Oh, okay.
somebody else's app.
Yeah, because that's why when you click the clone, I thought this is something that you get it from. For example, is available in this Famous AI or
Oh no no
or
no
or or,
because
or something that you have.
Because
file
I'm
and then
probably the only PE teacher in the world that's doing this now. So there's nothing for me to clone from.
oh, okay,
Yeah, which
okay.
is why I'm encouraging more of you guys to come on board and then journey with me, so that we can really tap on each other's creations and speed things up lah. Because yeah, otherwise it will
Oh,
really take a
so
lot of time.
like for example, I can also create a volleyball one.
Correct.
And then from there, I can find a picture of a volleyball court. I put it here. And
Yes.
then I just the thing is that I need to key in the prompt lah, as
Correct.
accurate as possible.
Correct.
Okay.
That's right. Okay, so now my app is almost ready. It should be showing in 2 seconds. Okay, so now let me just show you the final product before we end. Okay, so this is not published yet. So there's a publish button at the top right hand corner, but I'm just going to show you the preview. So let's say there is first runner at first base, second base. Let me just zoom out a bit so that you can see clearly what's happening. So let me just position the fielders. Okay. So the orange is the runner, the batter is here in blue. You can see that my batting angle highlight is now green as I've requested. And then whenever it overlaps the area near the fielder. So you can see that means there's a chance that this fielder might catch the ball. So that's why wait. Okay, so let me just shift the fielder's position a bit. Okay, so you can see that's why I created this app so that it's easier to visualize. Right, so it doesn't mean I hit here is considered good lah, right? Because this is overlapping quite near the base, and there is a chance that maybe I miss it and then it will go somewhere else. So similarly, if I put a fielder here, right, you can see that yeah, once it overlaps, it will turn red lah. So it will highlight certain things on the field. So that will bring the student's attention towards something otherwise not seen lah in normal play. All right, so I'll end here. Okay, so if anything else, you can contact me directly. So thank you so much for your time, guys. I'll end here and pass over to the facilitators. Thank you, guys.
Hi
Okay, thank you very
guys.
much.
Yeah. Okay. We will definitely today is not the end of the learning. In the Padlet you can put in your emails, and then we can set up something separately with the respective presenters today. Can? Right. In the interest of time, we will go back to the main room right now, and then we will take your questions from there. Can? Right. Let's go back to the main room. We're going to stop the record room.